thing is Santa. But as for me and Grandpa, we believe.
It is December 21st, 2021. Welcome to The Daily Rob. You can find us on YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, Facebook, Odyssey, and on all major podcast platforms. Now, without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Rob Smith.
Howdy, Stu. Guess where I am today?
I don't know. It looks like wherever you are, they have contraband over there.
Well, the whole state's contraband, Stu. I'm in West by God, Virginia, and I'm at one of their finer restaurants, the Hillbilly Hot Dog. And I thought, I've been out here all day, and boy, Stu, I mean, the roast possum I had for lunch was just awesome. Tonight, I plan on having an appetizer of mountain oysters, and I think I'll try one of their hot dogs. But while I'm here, Stu, I am interviewing West Virginians about what they think of their Senator Joe Manchin. And almost universally, Stu, they say they don't like him because he's a Democrat, but they're proud of him for standing up to the commies in Washington, and they're very excited that he is not voting for Build Back Better. How about that?
Yeah. You know,
Dude, the Rob is Right show goes to where the action is.
Yeah. I mean, Ron Paul effectively said the same thing today on Liberty Report, where he said, you know, say what you will about him, but if Bernie Sanders thinks you're evil, then you're probably a pretty good guy.
You're probably a candidate for sainthood, Stu.
Okay.
In one of these West Virginia snake throwing, strychnine drinking churches.
The Pentecostal, pretty much.
Yes, indeed.
So what news stories are you looking at today?
Well, Stu, besides the Manchin thing, interesting, another Democratic congressman has said, congresswoman has stated that she's not going to run for re-election next year. How about that? That's 22 of them thus far, Stu. Have you heard that there is a COVID breakout at the White House?
I have not, but that sounds like quite the good story right there.
Of course, everybody is double and triple and quadruple vaccinated. Jen Psaki was asked about it by a reporter today, and she didn't answer the question.
Really?
Is there a COVID breakout at the White House? And she gave her mealy mouth answer about the White House fully expects that there will be breakthrough cases as we try to fight this COVID pandemic. Everyone here has been vaccinated and boosted, blah, 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 blah. She wouldn't answer the question.
But again, we expect there to be breakthrough cases across the country, right? And certainly in the federal government. And the most important thing to note for you and for others is that the 99% of the or more at this point of the White House staff is vaccinated. Boosters are strongly recommended and distributed. We have a very thorough process here that people abide by who are going to have close contact with the president and even beyond that. And those protocols go above and beyond CDC guidelines.
But you're not going to say whether or not there's been a significant outbreak in the various different parts that I mentioned, NSC, State Department, Treasury.
Again, I point you to different agencies to give any additional information, but I would just note that we do expect there to be breakthrough cases, as there will be across government.
And we all know that some leftist celebrities like Jim Cramer on the, he's the investment guy who shouts all the time. Larry Hogan, who's the Rhino, Maryland governor. Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren and Corey, let me grab your nuts in the bathroom, Booker, all have been triple vaccinated and they all have COVID. But you know, Stu, vaccinations are going to save us. Even while they say things like, I think the president just Friday said, if you get vaccinated, you won't get COVID. So how do you trust these people, Stu?
I had forgotten that Jim Cramer was the gentleman who said that the military should run the vaccine mandates, and that the only way for us to get back to normal was to have the military administer this program. So, soldiers going door to door to make sure everyone's vaccinated. And then him, despite, I guess, doing all of his best efforts, he still comes down with it and could end up being a super spreader. But it's just interesting that all of these politicians are getting it. And it seems to add up with some of the preliminary statistics that we've seen. And, YouTube, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just quoting studies I've seen where, 80% of the people that they had, it was a fairly small group, but all of those people had been vaccinated and they still got COVID despite that. And so is it okay if I talk about the White House on Friday real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So on Friday, Joe Biden has this big speech, and a lot of people have been critical of the speech because he said, for unvaccinated, we are looking at a winter of severe illness and death. If you're unvaccinated, for themselves, their families, and hospitals, they will soon overwhelm. But the good news, if you're vaccinated and you've had your booster shot, you're protected from severe illness and death, period. Get your booster shot. It's critically important. And so he keeps talking, and it's just he gets down to this and he has a mush mouth moment. 57, excuse me. 570, excuse me. I don't want to read. I'm not sure I got the number right. The total number of boosters is what? Then he turns to Dr. Fauci and says 57 million. So 57 million people have apparently gotten.
How would you not know which one of those decibels to put on the end of the numerical figure?
Yeah.
You think it's really just 57 or 570?
Yeah, 57 people in the United
brain
States
just
have
doesn't
gotten
work,
boosters.
Stu.
Yeah. 57 people.
5.7 booster shots have been administered so far. I mean, what the? Yeah. Anyway, first of all, Stu, Jim Cramer's not a gentleman. He's also not very smart. He's the one who told everybody to buy Lehman Brothers about 2 or 3 days before it crashed and returned 0 cents on the dollar. He was one of the first people just a couple weeks ago, when the Biden administration said they were getting bad pub, they went and talked to him, and he announced what a great economy we're having. Isn't it inflation great? Anyway, so there you have it, Stu. By the way, Stu, they've got some excellent moonshine. I don't want to break any YouTube rules, but you can pour it in here, and a lot of advantages to West Virginia. Evergrande in China is continuing to have problems. Some of their properties are being taken back now. Interesting, Stu, how developed is the Chinese bankruptcy system to take care of creditors? It's only been around since 2007. I say not very much. I guarantee you it's a communist country. There will be an unequal protection of creditors. Favored creditors will get paid, others won't. I will predict right now that institutional foreign investors will get fucked. Thank you. Come back in a couple months and you can say, Rob was right. Trump sued Letitia James today, Stu. Remember, she's the commie bitch attorney general of New York who, before she even got into office, she said she was going to go after Trump, blankety blank, 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 bad words.
Will you sue him for us?
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the ass. He's going to know my name personally.
I love it. He probably does already.
She's trying to find a crime. She subpoenaed him, and he has sued her to protect his constitutional rights. Mm-hmm. The government doesn't have the right to serve subpoenas on you trying to find something without any kind of probable cause. Let's see, Stu, what else we got? Oh, a little birdie told me, because Stu, I'm very well connected, as you know, that one of the reasons that Manchin is so pissed off is because the Biden administration broke their word not to disclose that they were talking and to point the finger. They did that a couple of days ago. Manchin's family lives on a houseboat in the Potomac in Washington. They've been threatened several times. People come up in boats, they yell at him, and he felt like the Biden administration was putting his family at risk. He's pissed, so he did this. And the people I've talked to at Hillbilly Hot Dog, West Virginia is a very pro-family state, and they're standing behind their man.
And it sounds like he might become an independent now as well.
Have you heard that?
Yeah, there's some talk of that.
Well, he's pissed. It's what you do, Stu, when you don't act like a gentleman. When power is everything, you don't know how to be civil or to act like a gentleman. You're consumed by it. It eats you alive. You hate others.
I was on Real Clear Markets today, and I saw a good article by a fella named Rob Smith talking about some perverts over at CNN. That doesn't happen to be you, does it?
Did you see a picture of the guy? Is he kind of a good-looking, studly man of mystery kind of fella?
Yeah, he looks like he could probably fight a few people at once and walk away the victor.
That's me, Steph.
Okay.
Want me to talk about it?
Yeah, it was good.
I had a good time running this, Stu. As you know, CNN is loaded with perverts. You got Don Lemon, who grabbed somebody's nuts at a party. He did some other things. I don't even like to talk about it. It's so gross. Then you've got Jeffrey Toobin, who on a Zoom call and in front of his colleagues, Stu, that's just, oh God. And then, Chris Cuomo, the real reason he got fired is because of some sexual harassment, deviancy type stuff that they really don't disclose. But he is friends, and I mean friends, Stu, like hugging friends. And
workout buddies
with this guy, John Griffin. Johnny Boy has some peculiarities, Stu, where he likes to contact folks, mothers with little children, and coax them into teaching the child how to have sex. He says things that these children should know, that a woman is a woman, regardless of her age, that women are the dirtiest sluts possible, and they should be sexually subservient and inferior to men. Well, he flew mother and daughter, 9-year-old, to his lair in Vermont. I guess he trained them, and then he sexually molested the child. He's apparently done this type of thing a number of times, and he's bragged that he has had sexual relations with a 7-year-old. Anyway, Stu, he's been arrested, okay, by the FBI. But Stu, the interesting thing is the FBI had his phone records and all of his devices for 17 months before he was arrested. So one has to wonder why. How many children were abused because this pervert, because the FBI didn't arrest this guy? The question becomes, is the FBI protecting this guy? Well, we all know, Stu, that the far left has weaponized all the departments of government. Joe Biden and Hunter Biden can commit treason and sell out their country. The DOJ and the FBI can fabricate evidence with foreign intelligence officers planted in the United States and try to dethrone a sitting president. Merrick Garland can threaten to prosecute soccer moms for speaking up at Board of Supervisors meetings because they're scared their children might be raped in bathrooms. Jim Comey can leak information to the FBI. So Stu, it's interesting. We know what the FBI did with Hillary Clinton. Hunter Biden's laptop was in their hands in 2019. They didn't do anything. Project Veritas has uncovered another CNN pedophile. This guy's name is John Salaby. I guess that's how you say it. And he was having relations with a sex worker in which he told her all these fantasies he had about having sex with his stepdaughter, who's underage, and with the sex worker's stepdaughter. Well, Project Veritas was raided by the FBI, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. Ashley Biden is the president's daughter. She had a diary. She had a very troubled past, and apparently in the diary, she says things like she thinks she was sexually abused as a child, and she took showers with her father that she thinks probably weren't appropriate. You think? Well, Stu, why would the FBI raid an independent newspaper and seize all of their material over a diary? A local police force wouldn't do that. It's not a federal matter. It's a Gestapo tactic. And where I'm going with this, Stu, is how big is this sexual deviancy, perversion, pedophilia in the United States among the left? And is the FBI being used by the Biden administration as its own private militia to intimidate folks and to grab information, and maybe even to prosecute or to find a way to prosecute Project Veritas? Think about it, Stu. It's what they did in the Mueller investigation and some other matters. They're looking for a way to hook somebody. They did it with General Flynn. They want to shut people up. What does Project Veritas know? Well, Stu, all of this got me to thinking. You remember during the 2016 campaign, the Podesta brothers, Tony and John, one was the head of the Democratic National Committee. They are invited to a spirit dinner in New York. And I don't know if you know what a spirit dinner is, Stu, but it's sick. There is a lady, her name is...
Was it Maria Abramovic?
Abramovic, yes, exactly. And there are videos on her on the internet, but she believes that putting human blood and sperm and breast milk, even urine, into food somehow is a spiritual experience. It's very, very occult-like. She has a pentagram tattoo on her stomach. And these guys were invited to her house, and they apparently, through the emails, very chummy. Well, Stu, the question is, why do these mover and shakers on the left have all these connections with perversion? Jeff Zucker's wife, you told me this, she's been photographed many times in many different venues with Ghislaine Maxwell. What is going on, Stu? So here's what I said in my article. It's somewhat politically philosophical, but I think I'm on to something here, Stu. I said the radical left does not adhere to secular law or any law that derives from divine authority. The ends always justify the means. If the Constitution gets in the way, they trash the Constitution. If widely accepted Judeo-Christian values obstruct their plans, they ridicule the faith. The left wants to destroy everything that kindles their hatred. They want to be their own deity and sit on a throne of their own making where they are not shackled or feel the need to be obedient to anything but their own narcissism. I think this drives them to engage in the verboten. I think by engaging in the verboten, this solidifies their belief in their godlike status and their victory over the old God who they never wanted to obey. I think that is the essence of leftism and Marxism and what is corrupting the Democratic Party and what is the foundation of why they have so many perverts. That's what I wrote about, Stu.
Yeah, I definitely think you're onto something with that article.
Well,
it was a
thank you.
barnstormer.
Well, I've been here in West Virginia, and incense is acceptable out here. But even these folks are really, really mad at what's going on at CNN.
Yeah, anyone who's paying attention should be very afraid. That's my thoughts on it.
So what you got today, Stu?
So I ran into this article called COVID-19 infection after vaccination could create super immunity, produce up to 2,000% antibodies. And this was pretty interesting. And I kind of dived into this article. And so even though I myself am not a doctor and I am not a medical professional and I'm not giving anyone medical advice, I'm just going to quote a little bit from this article and some of the studies they referenced. And this is from the Daily Mail. So this is a reputable newspaper. Researchers noted a 2,000% increase in antibodies when a fully vaccinated person is infected with the virus. These increases were substantial, up to 1,000% increase and sometimes up to 2,000. So it's really high immunity, study author Fakadu Tafesi told USA Today. Now, this is the very interesting part. So if you're paying attention, something's going to be a little bit odd here. Blood samples are taken from 52 university workers who had received the Pfizer vaccination. Of the 26 who developed minor breakthrough infections, 10 had Delta, 9 had non-Delta versions, and 7 had unknown variants.
So it's mutating.
There are apparently 7 other variants out there that are getting people sick that we don't even have names for. I mean, so it's mutating.
If I can summarize, you got the triple vaccines, you get a breakthrough, and we've talked about this. The virus finds a way around it. They mutate. So one could say that those who are triple vaccinet are actually causing harm to others, because when a breakthrough case comes along, then new word, spreads, and creates more of a problem.
I mean, possibly, and we've discussed this before, where this is an RNA virus, and RNA viruses mutate and evolve at their highest threshold. If they went any quicker, they would destabilize and die. And that's what the Merck drug does, is that it goes to the COVID and it mutates it. That's why it's exogenic, and it makes it go into that threshold point, so it destabilizes and falls apart. But anyone who has an autoimmune disease has a disease where their immune system is essentially attacking their own body. And so when we talk about a 2,000% increase in antibodies, that's what I would say. Are we at a supra physiological level when it comes to antibodies? And so supra physiological, let's just break it down, above the physical capabilities. So it's not like your body can naturally produce that level of antibodies. Your immune system isn't about having a strong or a weak, it's about balance. And there are tons of diseases, and a lot of them are really nasty, but they happen when your immune system is in a heavy sense. That's what any autoimmune disease is. There are tons of cancers that manifest that way. And so when I see 2,000% increase, I get a little bit worried, but I'm not a doctor, but it's definitely something to keep in mind, because there are lots of things that we can take, whether it's a vitamin or a other kind of supplementation, where if you begin to take a level that is unhealthy for you, it can have ramifications. And it's all about balance. It's very easy to take the human body and throw it out of balance. And I'm just wondering if this is going to be something we see with people who've had, multiple boosters and stuff. So
this is what Dr. Robert Malone talked about. Kind of the super protein?
or what is it, the spike protein?
Spike proteins, and it being so hyper enhanced that it could create mutations we don't know about that could be quite harmful. And of course, it couldn't take care of other things in your body because of exactly what you're talking about. It's not in equilibrium. Stu, God's a pretty smart dude, and he designed an incredibly complex ecosystem in our body. And when you tamper with that, there are side effects always. So good work, Stu.
Yeah, just something interesting.
When
Yourself.
you said supraphysiological. Is that anything like supercalidocious?
No, it's not.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, that's just a science word that I'm a big fan of. So,
Okay.
So enjoy Hillbilly Hot Dog. Make friends with the
will. I think I might have a side dish of hog belly.
Ooh, right on.
Yeah. And in West Virginia, those snowball things, those little pink things, the Hostess things you get at the convenience store.
Oh yes, yeah, I know snowballs.
They often serve those for dessert, so I'll probably have one of those.
Well, it sounds like you're staying very healthy, leading up to the holidays.
Indeed.
Okay.
All right, Stu, go get them.
Later.
Snowballs? Yeah. Snowballs? Where's the fucking Twinkies? I like snowballs. I hate coconut, not the taste, the consistency.